Welcome, dear viewers, to Whatever You Need. Today we turn to a story that has captivated audiences from Istanbul to Rome, from Madrid to Sao Paulo. It is the story of Demet Özdemir and Can Yaman, two names forever linked by the unforgettable success of Turkish. But this is not simply a tale of a TV series, it is about the way art can reshape lives, the way chemistry on screen can echo into reality, and the way two actors learn to carry both affection and discipline in the face of relentless public attention. Before we begin, let me remind you to subscribe to our channel, tap that like button, and if you truly want to keep this community thriving, click join to give us your extra support. Your comments and reflections matter just as much as the stories themselves, so don't forget to leave your thoughts below. When Turkish first appeared on Turkish television, it was more than just another romantic comedy. The series introduced viewers to a rhythm that felt almost musical. A pattern of glances, pauses, and unsaid words that created entire conversations without dialogue. At the center of it stood Demet Özdemir and Can Yaman, crafting a performance out of subtleties, a fleeting smile, a touch that lingered half a second longer than expected, or an eye contact heavy with unspoken promises. These small details did not remain confined to the domestic audience. Edited clips, fan-subtitled episodes, and carefully cut scenes began circulating on international platforms, catapulting the series and its stars far beyond Turkey's borders. Suddenly, Demet and Can were not just national stars, they were global icons, faces of a Turkish wave that blended romance with modern storytelling. With success came inevitable curiosity. Fans who adored their characters began to wonder if the chemistry spilled into real life. The more intense the longing for confirmation grew, the more disciplined both actors became. They kept captions short, they answered questions about craft rather than gossip, and they resisted the temptation to feed a rumor mill always hungry for spectacle. Audiences interpreted their silence in different ways. Some believed it was a marketing strategy designed to keep attention alive. Others, more empathetic, understood it as a shield, a necessary tactic in an industry where one careless word can spiral into a lifelong headline. The truth was neither sensational nor manipulative. It was pragmatic. There was genuine care in preserving something delicate, and a sharp awareness that gossip thrives on scraps of ambiguity. For a long time, silence was not indifference but respect. Yet no silence lasts forever. As time passed, schedules aligned and circumstances softened. Cameras began catching them in shared frames more frequently, and what had once seemed like rare sightings began to feel natural. Their interviews, though separate, began to harmonize in language. Words like trust, balance, and peace appeared in both voices. This was not a formal announcement but a subtle evolution. Then came the moment of clarity. Can Yaman, with characteristic directness, suggested that the era of secrecy was over. It was not a declaration of surrender to tabloids, but an affirmation that hiding was no longer necessary. For attentive followers, it simply confirmed what they had already sensed: the barrier between public and private had shifted, though not dissolved. When a couple says they are no longer hiding, it rarely means opening the gates to constant exposure. It usually translates into three simple principles. First, no more dodging the obvious. If they are seen together, there is no denial. Second, adopting a steady tone, sharing enough to prevent wild speculation without drowning in overexposure. And third, keeping professional work at the center so that visibility remains honest, not performative. For Demet and Can, this path promised sanity. It allowed them to honor their bond without turning it into a spectacle, and it encouraged the public to adjust its curiosity with a new kind of respect. The world responded in waves. The first was joyous. Fans celebrated across social media, resurfacing old clips, creating montages, and writing congratulations in countless languages. The second wave was protective. Devoted followers urged others to see this openness as a gift, not an entitlement, reminding everyone that love shown in public still deserves its own private air. The third wave was pragmatic, speculating whether red carpet appearances would increase, whether brands would lean into their union, and whether interviews would pivot toward personal questions. Each reaction revealed something essential. The audience wanted to celebrate but also feared intrusion. The challenge, as always, was balance. From an entertainment perspective, the acknowledgement of their bond shifted the landscape. Two internationally recognized stars, when seen not as individuals but as a pair, changed the marketing dynamics overnight. Suddenly, campaigns could be built on dual imagery, magazines dreamed of joint covers, and PR managers saw opportunities for synergy. But lurking behind opportunity was risk, overexposure. Fans can grow weary if intimacy becomes overpackaged. The solution lay in selectivity. One carefully chosen photo shoot could provide months of calm. A thoughtful joint interview focusing on craft rather than gossip could redirect attention without reprimanding curiosity. By controlling pace and context, Demet and Can could navigate this delicate balance. There was also a cultural transformation beneath the surface. For years, some fans treated their discretion almost as an insult, as though withholding details denied the public its due. The new openness reframed that dynamic. By saying, "We are not hiding," the couple extended trust, and in doing so, asked for reciprocity. This reciprocity meant resisting the urge to decode every caption, turning every ring into speculation, or transforming absence into conspiracy. It asked audiences to celebrate with the same grace the couple offered, to treat visibility not as a loophole but as a carefully shared gift. What made this moment so powerful was not merely the announcement itself, but the journey that led to it. It came after years of careful restraint, after individual projects that proved both actors could thrive independently, and after lessons in discipline that showed silence was never avoidance but protection. Because of this foundation, the new chapter did not feel like a gimmick or sudden revelation. It felt earned. It felt like the natural outcome of patience, respect, and maturity. What changes now? Likely small gestures, a caption that uses "we" instead of "I," a family appearance together, or a photograph shared at the right moment to say thank you without saying too much. Importantly, there will also be choices not to share, and those choices will matter just as much as the visible ones. With gossip deprived of its favorite fuel, secrecy, rumor itself may finally lose its grip. Narratives of denial and manipulation collapse once clarity sets in. For Demet and Can, that clarity is liberation. For fans, it is an invitation to shift focus back where it belongs, their work, their craft, and the artistry that made the world fall in love with them in the first place. And so we arrive at the present, two stars who built their bond carefully, who taught an audience how to read between the lines, and who finally chose to step into openness on their own terms. This is not surrender to fame, it is authorship of their own story. What do you think, dear viewers? Does this new transparency make you feel closer to them, or do you prefer the mystery of silence? Would you like to see them appear more often together in interviews, or should their bond remain quietly in the background while the spotlight shines on their roles? Share your thoughts below, we always love reading your perspectives. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to whatever you need, and hit the join button if you'd like to support us even more. Thank you for staying with us through this journey, and remember, the strongest stories are not the loudest ones, but the ones told with balance, respect, and care. Until next time.